The silver ships appeared in Earth skies without warning, materializing above major cities in perfect formation. Humanity collectively held its breath as the vessels hovered motionless against blue skies, their hulls reflecting sunlight in hypnotic patterns. Commander Maya Chen stood on the roof of United Defense Force headquarters, her eyes narrowed against the glare of the midday sun, while others around her gasped and pointed. She remained still, analyzing the formation, recognizing the tactical positioning that others missed. These visitors had arranged themselves with military precision, covering optimal firing vectors for the metropolis below. Reports flooded in from around the globe: identical ships, identical formations across every continent, every major population center. Worldwide news networks broadcast continuous footage as world leaders scrambled to establish response protocols, yet the vessels made no attempt at communication, simply observing. 48 hours they watched, then they spoke. A transmission simultaneously broadcast on all frequencies, all devices, all languages, flawlessly translated. The Valaxian Collective extends greetings to Earth. We come in peace as representatives of 17 advanced civilizations. We wish to welcome humanity to the galactic community. The celebration was immediate, spontaneous. Global humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries, proof that we were not alone in the universe. Promises of technological exchange, medical advancement, interstellar travel filled headlines as Earth governments prepared elaborate welcome ceremonies. Chen watched the broadcasts from her underground office, 3 levels beneath the Pentagon. While her colleagues celebrated, she requisitioned satellite data, orbital analysis, communication patterns. The ships maintained perfect geosynchronous positions, never adjusting, never rotating, never showing any vulnerability. At the first diplomatic meeting, Chen observed from the background as alien representatives towered over human delegates, their iridescent exoskeletons gleaming under conference room lights, their 4 arms making elaborate gestures as they described galactic wonders awaiting human exploration. She noted how their compound eyes never focused on the human speakers, but constantly scanned defense systems, room exits, communication devices. Their questions seemed innocent inquiries about Earth governments, military structures, resource distribution, power generation capacity, food production methods. But Chen recognized the pattern from her years in military intelligence. This was not cultural exchange. This was tactical assessment. She assembled a small team: analysts, engineers, communication specialists, away from official channels, using secure facilities designed for worst-case scenarios. They began monitoring all Valaxian transmissions, developing encryption algorithms to decode the alien communications. 1 week of continuous work, no sleep, minimal breaks, until finally a breakthrough. The translated message fragment appeared on screen: preliminary assessment, complete indigenous species designation, category 3 non-predator, minimal resistance expected, standard pacification protocols, authorized comments, phase 2 operations at next solar rotation. Chen stared at the screen as her team fell silent. The implications unmistakable. These were not diplomats, they were advanced scouts. Earth was not being welcomed, it was being invaded. While public broadcasts showed smiling alien representatives touring human cultural sites, signing preliminary trade agreements, granting limited technological samples, Chen's team detected increased activity in orbit, thermal signatures, suggesting weapons systems, activating communication bursts directed toward outer solar system. When Chen presented her findings to military command, skepticism was immediate. The potential benefits of peaceful contact outweighed unproven suspicions. Diplomatic relations could not be jeopardized by military paranoia. A senior general dismissed her report as speculative, causing unnecessary alarm. Chen returned to her team, expanded their monitoring network, recruited trusted operatives across global defense forces, established backup communication systems independent of standard infrastructure. As diplomatic proceedings continued, she prepared countermeasures, planning for what she knew would come. The attack was 24 hours away, and only Maya Chen knew it was coming. Dawn broke across North America With a flash of light that had nothing to do with the sun, the sky burned white as orbital strikes descended from Valaxian ships targeting military installations, power grids, communication centers. Major cities erupted in chaos as secondary explosions rocked infrastructure, the carefully orchestrated attack executed with mathematical precision. Commander Chen had been awake all night, her underground facility, shielded from the initial electromagnetic pulse that disabled most electronic systems. Her team had isolated their networks, prepared alternative power sources, established encrypted communication with similar bunkers worldwide. She felt the rumble of impacts above, but remained focused on her screens, watching the attack pattern unfold exactly as she had predicted. The Valaxian strategy followed standard military doctrine: destroy command capability, eliminate communication, prevent coordination, then deploy ground forces to secure capitulation. But they had made a critical miscalculation about Earth. Humans had been killing each other for millennia. Centuries of warfare had created military redundancies, fallback protocols, decentralized command structures that activated automatically when primary systems failed. Regional commanders initiated predetermined response scenarios without waiting for central authorization. Civilian defense forces mobilized following long-established protocols for exactly this scenario. An alien invasion practiced in simulations, but never expected to be implemented. Chen watched with grim satisfaction as secondary and tertiary defense systems came online, scattered but functional exactly as designed for worst-case scenarios. Her screen lit up with reports from around the globe, resistance forming, organizing, adapting in ways the Valaxians clearly never anticipated. 72 hours after the initial strike, Chen led her team through underground tunnels beneath Washington, emerging 20 miles outside the city perimeter into forest that concealed a secondary military installation. Smoke darkened the horizon, but distant anti-aircraft fire indicated human forces still operational. They reached the base to find it partially intact. Colonel Jackson greeting them with exhausted relief. "We intercepted one of their ground craft," Chen informed him, bypassing formal greeting protocols. "My engineers think we can access their systems if we move quickly." The captured Valaxian shuttle sat in a reinforced hangar, its crystalline hull scorched from defensive fire. 2 alien bodies lay covered nearby, their iridescent exoskeletons dulled in death. Engineers swarmed over the craft, while Chen reviewed tactical displays showing the current situation. The initial Valaxian assault had achieved approximately 60% of projected objectives, their ground forces now moving to secure resources, population centers, government facilities. But something was clearly wrong with their advance, their formations too rigid, their responses too predictable, their tactics unchanged despite varying resistance. When a junior officer brought her the first translated data from the shuttle computer, Chen understood why the aliens had never encountered significant resistance before. Their threat assessment categorized humans as minimal resistance. Expected standard pacification protocols authorized the Valaxians were fighting according to predetermined algorithms, not adapting to actual battlefield conditions. Chen immediately organized a briefing for all connected resistance cells via secure channels. "The aliens expect us to behave according to their models, predict their attacks, then do the opposite. They anticipate retreats, so advance. They expect centralized command, so operate independently. They rely on technology, so use terrain and weather against them." The response was immediate, chaotic, unpredictable, exactly what Chen intended. Guerrilla tactics, ambushes, hit-and-run operations against Valaxian supply lines, impromptu civilian resistance alongside military units fighting block by block, mile by mile, with whatever weapons available. The human capacity for adaptation, innovation, and sheer stubborn determination manifesting in countless unexpected ways. 7 days after the initial attack, Chen received word that a Valaxian commander had sent a demand for Earth surrender to all functioning government channels. The coordinated response came not from world leaders, but from thousands of scattered resistance outposts, military bases, civilian militia groups, university physics departments, high school computer clubs, hunting associations. "Come and take it." The transmission repeated in every human language, every form of communication, reaching Valaxian forces worldwide, a simple defiance that seemed to confuse the invaders, their forces pausing momentarily before resuming standard protocols. Chen studied the alien commander captured during an ambush 3 days earlier, noting how he watched human soldiers with compound eyes that could not hide his confusion, clearly struggling to understand how a supposedly non-predator species could fight with such ferocity, such unpredictability, such apparent disregard for centralized command. The predator awakens, Chen thought as she prepared the next phase of resistance humanity, remembering its evolutionary heritage as the most dangerous hunters Earth had ever produced. 14 days into the invasion, Commander Chen stood before the captured Valaxian officer in an underground bunker converted to an interrogation facility. The alien towered over her, its 4 limbs restrained, its compound eyes reflecting her image in fractured repetition. "You are not behaving according to evolutionary models." The Valaxian spoke, its translated voice emotionless. Category 3 species surrender when technological superiority is demonstrated, yet you continue resistance despite inevitable outcome. Chen circled the alien, studying its exoskeleton, noting weak points, joint connections, sensory clusters. Her predatory assessment, automatic, instinctual, the result of evolutionary programming far older than human civilization. "Your models are wrong. Humans are not Category 3. We are apex predators who temporarily forgot our nature." The Valaxian tilted its head in what Chen interpreted as confusion. "Impossible. Your physical capabilities are inferior. No significant natural weapons, limited sensory range, minimal strength. Your species' survival probability was calculated at less than 12%. Chen laughed, a sound that seemed to disturb the alien more than her words. "You misunderstand what makes humans dangerous. We didn't survive because we were stronger. We survived because we never stop hunting." She activated a wall display showing footage from around the globe, human resistance cells adapting Valaxian technology, guerrilla fighters ambushing alien patrols in dense forests, mountain tribes using centuries-old hunting techniques against advanced scouts, ordinary citizens turning household items into improvised weapons. "The collective has conquered 17 worlds," the Valaxians said. "We have encountered various resistance, all ultimately futile." "Did those species evolve as pack hunters?" Chen asked. "Did they chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion? Did they develop tools specifically to kill more efficiently? Did they spend thousands of years perfecting the art of warfare against their own kind?" The alien's silence was answer enough. Data recovered from the captured shuttle revealed a disturbing pattern. Every species the Valaxians had previously conquered evolved from grazing herbivores, herd animals, or solitary foragers, with minimal predatory instinct. Their civilizations built on cooperation, harmony, consensus. When faced with overwhelming force, they logically accepted new leadership to preserve their species. Humans were different. After reviewing the intelligence, Chen called a secure meeting with resistance leaders from 6 continents, connected via encrypted channels. Scientists, engineers, military strategists, civilian authorities, all gathered virtually to hear her assessment. The Valaxians categorized us incorrectly. They expected surrender because every other species they encountered surrendered. They don't understand what they awakened in us. Dr. Rodriguez from the xenobiology team elaborated on the evolutionary psychology. "Humans are persistence predators. Our ancestors chased prey for hours until it collapsed from heat exhaustion. This shaped our psychology. We don't stop, we don't surrender. When wounded, we become more dangerous. When cornered, we fight harder." Military leaders nodded in recognition, seeing ancient hunting behaviors reflected in modern warfare strategies. The Valaxians rely on technological superiority and predictable responses, Chen continued, but their tactics lack creativity. They follow programmed protocols. Rather than adapting in real time, they expected us to behave according to their models. When we didn't, they simply intensified standard procedures rather than developing new approaches. She outlined her strategy, leveraging captured technology against its creators while exploiting the fundamental Valaxian weakness, their inability to comprehend human unpredictability. Teams worldwide would focus on reverse engineering alien communications weapons propulsion systems, while military forces would implement asymmetric warfare techniques drawn from humanity's long bloody history. The most critical insight came from psychological analysis. The Valaxians experienced genuine confusion when humans continued fighting after defeats, retreated only to counterattack, later sacrificed tactical positions to gain strategic advantage, all behaviors inconsistent with their understanding of non-predator species. We need to amplify that confusion, Chen explained, become more unpredictable, less comprehensible, use their psychological disorientation as a weapon, make them fear what they don't understand. The global resistance shifted strategy, transitioning from defensive to offensive operations targeting Valaxian command structures, supply lines, communication systems, implementing tactics drawn from every human conflict, from ancient Roman legions to modern special forces, deliberately showcasing humanity's unique capacity for adaptive warfare. 21 days after the initial invasion, a Valaxian transmission was intercepted, decoded, and broadcast to all resistance cells. Request immediate reinforcement and strategic reassessment. Encountering unprecedented resistance behavior patterns, indicate possible category error. Subject species demonstrates predatory response characteristics previously unobserved in sentient civilizations. Standard pacification protocols proving ineffective. Extreme measures recommended. Chen smiled as she read the transmission, the first acknowledgement of Valaxian uncertainty, the first crack in their confidence, the first recognition that they had fundamentally misunderstood what humanity truly was. The predator was fully awake now and hunting its hunters. 30 days into the invasion, Earth remained unconquered, an unexpected situation that forced the Valaxian command to deploy additional resources to what they had initially classified as a routine pacification operation. Commander Chen, now promoted to colonel due to battlefield succession protocols, studied topographical maps of the Carpathian Mountains alongside Romanian resistance leaders. The mountains held strategic value not for resources, but for what Chen now understood as psychological warfare. The Valaxians struggled in extreme environments, their technology less effective in severe conditions, their tactics rigid, inappropriate for complex terrain. Mountain warfare required improvisation, adaptation qualities humans possessed in abundance, qualities the aliens lacked. Resistance forces worldwide had identified similar weaknesses: deep oceans, dense jungles, extreme desert conditions, high altitudes, places where human evolutionary adaptability provided advantages against technologically superior opponents, places where millennia of hunting, gathering, and fighting had prepared humans to survive harsh environments. Colonel Chen pored over intelligence reports from captured Valaxian data centers. The aliens operated on consensus, never leaving comrades behind, never sacrificing units for strategic advantage, never employing deception as primary strategy. They fought like hive minds, coordinated, efficient, but utterly predictable. Her plan formed during a sleepless night, a strategy drawn from ancient human warfare, updated with modern technology, a deliberate exploitation of everything that made humans dangerous, a demonstration of what it truly meant to face an apex predator. Winter came early to the Carpathians, heavy snow isolating valleys, limiting visibility, creating conditions Chen had specifically waited for. The operation began with a deliberate leak of misinformation, suggesting a major resistance command center hidden in the mountains with captured alien technology, weapons, research, medical facilities. The Valaxians responded exactly as predicted, deploying a massive force to secure the non-existent facility, their ships descending through snow clouds, their ground units advancing in perfect formation along narrow mountain passes. Waiting human forces held position, concealed in snow caves, natural rock formations, abandoned mining tunnels, genetic descendants of people who had survived in these mountains for countless generations, people whose ancestors had hunted, tracked, killed in these same valleys for thousands of years, people who understood the land in ways no alien intelligence could comprehend. The first Valaxian units reached the central valley before the trap activated synchronized avalanches, cutting off retreat routes, jamming technology, blocking communication with orbital support. The aliens suddenly isolated in whiteout conditions, their sensors compromised, their formations broken. Then the humans attacked. Not as a unified force, but as hundreds of small units emerging from blizzard conditions, striking from unexpected angles using primitive weapons alongside captured alien technology, attacking, retreating, vanishing back into swirling snow, operating independently without central command, each unit adapting tactics in real time based on battlefield conditions. The Valaxian response followed protocol reform: defensive positions await reinforcement, maintain communication, attempts their training inadequate for the nightmare scenario. They faced an enemy that seemed to materialize from the landscape itself, that struck with savage precision, that understood the terrain at a fundamental level, that disappeared before effective counterattacks could be mounted. For 3 days, the battle raged across mountain valleys, through ancient forests, along frozen rivers, the Valaxians losing cohesion, their command structure fragmenting, their technological advantages neutralized by weather conditions, by human knowledge of the environment, by the psychological terror of fighting an enemy they could not predict. Colonel Chen led from the front, moving between resistance units, coordinating the broader strategy while allowing tactical freedom, a leadership approach incomprehensible to the hierarchical Valaxian command, a human approach that balanced individual initiative with collective purpose. On the 4th day, the remaining Valaxian forces attempted a desperate breakout, only to find every escape route compromised by human defenders who had anticipated their movement patterns, who had studied their tactics, who had learned to think like their prey. The final Valaxian transmission from the Carpathians, intercepted by resistance communication specialists, transcribed and distributed to human forces worldwide, contained a warning that would change the course of the war. Central Command, encountering unprecedented tactical adaptability, subject species, employs deception, terrain exploitation, psychological warfare beyond all previous encounter parameters, recommend immediate strategic reassessment. They do not fight like civilians defending territory, they fight like predators who have identified vulnerable prey, request immediate extraction. The transmission ended mid-sentence. The Carpathian operation completed with total Valaxian defeat: 38% of deployed alien forces, destroyed 62%, captured along with intact technology, weapons, vessels, communication systems. Human losses were significant but within acceptable parameters, a concept that disturbed captured Valaxian commanders' human willingness to sustain casualties to achieve objectives, their ability to consider strategic value against individual survival, their predatory calculation of acceptable losses. News of the victory spread through resistance networks worldwide, inspiring similar operations adapted for local conditions, the tide of war shifting as humans remembered their evolutionary heritage. As the most dangerous hunters Earth had ever produced, 60 days into the war, Earth remained defiant. The Carpathian victory, inspiring similar operations worldwide: Indonesian islands, Australian outback, Siberian tundra, Amazonian rainforest, African savanna environments, where human adaptability neutralized Valaxian technological superiority. Colonel Chen recovered from wounds sustained during mountain operations. Study reports in the underground command center established beneath the Rocky Mountains. The most significant development was tactical but technological. Human scientists working with captured alien equipment made breakthrough after breakthrough, the human capacity for reverse engineering proving as formidable as their fighting spirit. Engineering teams worldwide sharing discoveries through encrypted channels, physicists, mathematicians, computer specialists, all focused on a single goal: understanding and repurposing Valaxian technology. Chen reviewed the progress with barely contained excitement. Their communication systems, now partially accessible, their weapons adaptable to human use, their propulsion mechanisms beginning to reveal their secrets, most critically their transmissions to the broader collective now interceptable. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source: a 16-year-old programming prodigy from Nairobi, working with quantum encryption protocols, developed a method to access the aliens' interstellar communication network. Suddenly, resistance forces could monitor transmissions between Earth and the Valaxian homeworld. What they discovered changed everything. The collective was in disarray. Reports from Earth creating unprecedented conflict among member species. Never before had planetary pacification encountered such resistance. Never before had standard protocols failed so completely. The collective leadership divided between escalation and withdrawal, the cost in resources and personnel already exceeding any previous operation. More surprising were intercepted transmissions from worlds previously conquered by the collective, messages indicating unrest, rebellion, inspired by Earth's resistance. Information about human tactics spreading through subjugated populations. Chen stared at the translated communications in disbelief. Humans were not fighting alone anymore. Their struggle, observed broadcast, celebrated across dozens of worlds. Then came the most unexpected development of all. A small vessel appeared in low Earth orbit, evading both Valaxian and human detection systems, until it transmitted directly to Chen's command center, requesting immediate secure communication using encryption protocols unknown to either humans or Valaxians. The vessel contained a single occupant, a being unlike the Valaxians, smaller, more fluid in movement, with features suggesting evolutionary development from aquatic predators, not insectoid herd species. "I am Nexer of the Exeri," the visitor announced after security protocols allowed limited contact. "Our world was among the first conquered by the collective. We were believed extinct after resistance, but some survived, hidden, watching, waiting for an opportunity that never came until now." Chen listened as Nexer explained the Exeri history, a species that, like humans, had evolved as predators, that had fought against Valaxian occupation, that had nearly been exterminated for their refusal to submit, survivors maintaining secret enclaves on remote worlds, monitoring collective activities for generations. "We observe your resistance, your adaptability, your refusal to accept defeat," the visitor continued. "You fight as we fought, but with greater success. Your species has accomplished in months what we could not achieve in centuries. You have exposed collective vulnerability." The intelligence Nexer provided proved invaluable. Detailed information about Valaxian command structure, weaknesses in their technology, vulnerabilities in their psychology, most critically communication codes that allowed access to their navigation systems. Human resistance forces immediately implemented this knowledge, targeting Valaxian supply chains, command centers, communication hubs, striking with precision. Previously impossible, the alien occupation, suddenly vulnerable, their coordinated operations disrupted, their hierarchical structure compromised. More significant was the psychological impact. Earth forces began broadcasting footage of successful operations throughout collective space, using captured transmission technology showing subjugated worlds that resistance was possible, that the seemingly invincible Valaxians could be defeated, the psychological warfare cutting deeper than any physical attack. Chen directed the creation of specific transmission packages for different conquered worlds, tailoring content to each species' evolutionary psychology, showing Valaxian defeats in environments similar to recipient homeworlds, demonstrating tactics adaptable to different physiologies, awakening dormant predatory instincts across countless planets. The collective Supreme Council emergency session transcript, intercepted, translated, distributed to human command centers, revealed their growing panic. Situation: unprecedented subject species technological adaptation rate exceeds all models. Interspecies cooperation with Ixeri remnants. Confirmed resistance movements emerging on 7 previously pacified worlds. Resource allocation becoming critical. Recommend immediate protocol revision. Colonel Chen, standing before the combined human resistance leadership, projected this intercept with unmistakable satisfaction. The hunter had become the hunted. Humanity was no longer merely defending Earth. They were taking the fight to the stars. The predator was fully awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. 90 days into the war, Colonel Chen, now General Chen, stood aboard the captured Valaxian vessel, renamed Defiance, its control systems modified for human operation, its weapons calibrated to human specifications, its hull bearing the emblems of Earth nations, alongside the new symbol of unified human resistance, a stylized wolf silhouette against a planetary background. The engineering achievement was unprecedented, human scientists adapting alien technology in weeks rather than the years or decades that might have been expected, technical teams working without rest, reverse engineering propulsion systems, navigation controls, weapons arrays, communication networks, the human capacity for technological adaptation proving as formidable as their combat resilience. 20 identical vessels occupied the hidden lunar base, each crewed by multinational teams selected for exceptional adaptability, intelligence, combat experience, the first human interplanetary combat force preparing for an operation that would change the nature of the conflict. General Chen addressed the assembled commanders, her voice steady despite the historical significance of the moment. This is not a defensive action, not a counterattack, but a deliberate offensive operation targeting Valaxian logistics in the outer solar system, their fuel processing stations, their drone manufacturing facilities, their forward command centers. We are taking the fight to them in ways they never anticipated from a species they expected to surrender. The plan, developed with Ixuri assistance, was audacious, exploiting Valaxian psychological vulnerabilities, their rigid tactical doctrines, their hierarchical command structures reliant on central authority, their fundamental inability to comprehend human predatory psychology. The human fleet launched during Earth night, emerging from concealed mountain bases across the planet, simultaneously rising to orbit in formation patterns deliberately mimicking Valaxian tactical configurations, collective sensors registering the approach, but command systems hesitating to respond. The appearance of human-operated Valaxian vessels, creating confusion, uncertainty, delay, exactly as planned. The attack targeted not military assets but supply infrastructure, fuel processing stations, automated manufacturing facilities, communication relays, logistical support systems. The human strike force applying ancient hunter strategies to space warfare, targeting the prey not where it was strongest, but where it was most vulnerable. General Chen commanded from Defiance, watching tactical displays as human crews implemented combat maneuvers impossible by Valaxian standards, unpredictable, innovative, combining Earth military doctrines across centuries of warfare, the aliens responding with increasing disarray, their standardized protocols inadequate against enemies who refused to follow expected patterns. The Jovian operation exceeded all objectives. 16 Valaxian support facilities destroyed or captured, minimal human casualties, significant technological gains, most importantly psychological impact, devastating, intercepted communications, revealing unprecedented confusion among collective command. Valaxian reinforcements arrived from the outer system, moving to engage the human fleet, only to find their targets had vanished, implementing irregular withdrawal patterns, reappearing in unexpected locations, striking secondary objectives, evading standard pursuit protocols, the human vessels operating not as a unified force, but as independent hunters coordinating through encrypted channels, adapting tactics in real time. The decisive moment came at the collective forward command center, orbiting Saturn human forces, executing a multi-vector assault from 12 different approaches, simultaneously overwhelming defensive systems. Before the Valaxian commanders could implement standard responses, General Chen leading the boarding party personally. The alien command staff frozen in confusion as humans breached their supposedly impregnable headquarters, moving with predatory efficiency, securing critical systems, capturing intact databases, command protocols, communication arrays, senior officers, the prize beyond all expectations, access to the collective strategic planning network. Before withdrawing, Chen recorded a message, broadcasting it throughout collective space on all frequencies using their own communication systems, ensuring maximum distribution. You came to our world expecting sheep, you found wolves. Instead, we are not prey, we are predators. We are coming for you next. The human fleet returned to Earth bearing captured technology intelligence prisoners, the operation achieving in days what conventional military doctrine suggested impossible, shifting the war from planetary defense to system-wide conflict, forcing the collective to divert significant resources from other conquered worlds to contain the human threat. The Valaxian Supreme Council emergency session transcript, intercepted, translated, distributed throughout human command networks, revealed their fundamental miscalculation. Subject species technological adaptation rate, psychological resilience, combat effectiveness, all exceed theoretical maximums. Previous classification error confirmed humans represent unprecedented threat category. Recommend immediate parameter revision. Establish containment protocols. Prevent further resistance spread. Risk assessment indicates potential existential threat to collective stability. General Chen, studying the transcript, permitted herself a predatory smile. The hunters had become the hunted. Earth was no longer defending itself, but actively pursuing victory across the solar system, and soon beyond. 120 days into the war, Earth forces controlled significant portions of the solar system. Valaxian occupation reduced to isolated strongholds. Human adaptability proving more formidable than alien technology. General Chen stood aboard Defiance, studying tactical displays, showing something unprecedented forming throughout collective space. Rebellion spread like wildfire across previously conquered worlds, inspired by transmitted footage of human victories, guided by tactical information provided by Earth forces utilizing strategies adapted for different physiologies, environments, technologies. The Valaxian collective faced simultaneous uprisings on 17 planets. Their military stretched beyond capacity, their command structure fragmenting, their consensus failing. The opportunity Chen recognized required another evolutionary human trait, one as significant as their predatory psychology, their capacity for cooperation with unlike species, their ability to form alliances across physiological divides, their willingness to collaborate with former strangers against common threats. The diplomatic mission departed Earth under heady escort. 5 captured Valaxian vessels, modified with extended life support systems capable of sustaining various atmospheric requirements, different gravity needs, diverse biological necessities. General Chen commanding personally for this most critical operation. Their first destination, the waterworld Mersenne, home of an aquatic species conquered by the collective 50 years earlier, now in open rebellion. Chen met with resistance leaders in a submerged chamber, breathing through adapted Valaxian technology, discussing strategy, sharing intelligence, offering alliance, not domination. We fight for freedom, not conquest, Chen explained through translation devices. We seek partnership, not subjects. Together, we can defeat the collective. Separately, they will eventually overwhelm us. Similar meetings followed on worlds throughout the sector, the crystalline Lumarity, the silicon-based Caraxians, the gaseous veil, each species bringing unique evolutionary advantages, different technological approaches, varied combat capabilities, forming history first truly interspecies military coalition. Most significant was the Exeri, their remnant populations emerging from hiding, bringing centuries of accumulated intelligence about collective operations, their predatory instincts resonating with human approaches, their tactical doctrines complementary with Earth strategies. The Valaxian response proved exactly as human psychological analysis predicted. They interpreted the forming alliance as an existential threat, deployed overwhelming force to the human solar system, intending to eliminate Earth as the source of contagion, their largest battle fleet converging on Mars orbit, preparing planetary bombardment to end human resistance permanently. They expected to find a defensive posture, planetary shields, orbital defenses, scattered resistance. Instead, they encountered nothing, no opposition, no engagement, no apparent awareness of their arrival. The trap, perfected through millennia of human hunting techniques, activated as the Valaxian fleet reached optimal bombardment position. Simultaneous strikes from hidden bases on Phobos Deimos and within the Martian surface, targeting command ships, communication arrays, weapon platforms, not to destroy but to disable, to create confusion, to fragment coordination. Then the Alliance fleet appeared, emerging from hyperspace in formations incomprehensible to Valaxian tactical analysis, human vessels alongside Exeri attack craft, Lumari crystal ships, Mersenne bubble transports, each species implementing combat strategies evolved from their unique predatory heritage, attacking from multiple vectors, exploiting different weaknesses, employing technologies the collective had never encountered, combined in ways they could not predict. The battle lasted 14 hours, the largest space engagement in collective history, their numerical advantage neutralized by tactical innovation. their technological superiority countered by biological diversity, their unified command disrupted by multispecies unpredictability. General Chen directed operations from Defiance, implementing strategies drawn from human military history, naval engagements, aerial combat, guerrilla warfare, combined with Ixiri hunting techniques. Lumeri crystalline technology, Mersenne sonic disruption, each species contributing evolutionary advantages, compensating for others' weaknesses, the alliance functioning not as subordinates to human command, but as cooperative predators sharing common purpose. The decisive moment came when Valaxian Supreme Command activated their final contingency, a planetary destruction device capable of shattering Mars, intended as demonstration of consequences for continued resistance. The device failed, sabotaged weeks earlier by infiltration teams consisting of gaseous veil operatives, microscopic Taraxian engineers, and human special forces, the Valaxian commanders watching in disbelief as their ultimate weapon, initiated then collapsed into harmless energy static, their last psychological advantage neutralized. The collective fleet commander transmitted surrender request as Alliance forces surrounded remaining vessels, the message containing a question that would echo across galactic history. What manner of evolution produces a species like yours? General Chen replied with the truth that would reshape interstellar understanding. The kind that remembers what it means to be both predator and prey. 1 year after the decisive battle of Mars, representatives from 47 species gathered aboard Harmony, a massive station constructed in neutral space, using combined technologies from all Alliance members. The first Galactic Council in known history convened to establish new interstellar protocols, define future relationships, determine governance structures. General Chen, now Admiral Chen, represented Earth, walking through corridors designed to accommodate vastly different physiologies, atmospheric requirements, gravity preferences, seeing cooperative engineering that would have seemed impossible months earlier, Alliance species adapting, working, learning from each other, united not by conquest, but by mutual respect. The council chamber featured concentric rings, each section modified for different biological needs. Valaxian representatives reluctantly present, seated in positions reflecting their diminished status, former conquerors now seeking terms, collective power, broken fleets, surrendered worlds liberated through combined Alliance operations. Admiral Chen took the central podium, her voice transmitted through translation devices, modified to convey not just words but emotional contexts, cultural nuances, evolutionary perspectives, ensuring true communication across biological divides. We stand at unprecedented juncture, civilizations that evolved on different worlds under different suns with different biological imperatives, gathered not as conqueror and conquered, but as equals seeking common future. Her proposed governance structure shocked many, especially former collective species, expecting humans to establish dominance, claim authority, demand reparations. Instead, Chen outlined system based on contribution rather than military might, technological advancement, biological capability, a genuinely cooperative framework where each species participated according to their strengths. The Mersenne representative burbled through translation device. Humans defeated collective, demonstrated superior battle capability, yet proposed power limitation. Puzzling concept, requires explanation. Chen smiled, understanding the confusion. This principle fundamental to human thought, but unfamiliar to many species, especially those evolved from solitary or herd animals rather than pack hunters. Pack hunters understand strength comes from cooperation, not domination. We evolved learning that tribal survival required limiting individual power, balancing leadership with consensus. The strongest protect, not exploit the weakest for collective benefit. Xenobiologists presented extensive research explaining humanity's unique evolutionary path, physical vulnerabilities compensated by cognitive adaptations, competitive instincts balanced by cooperative tendencies, resulting in species that could both fight with unprecedented ferocity and form alliances across biological boundaries. Most revealing were comparative studies of predator species, psychology, human capacities, for empathy, imagination, cultural exchange, standing uniquely developed among evolutionary hunters, these traits enabling Earth forces to understand, predict, adapt to alien thought processes, develop strategies targeting psychological vulnerabilities, demonstrate restraint after victory. The most profound insight came unexpectedly from senior Valaxian representative rising to address assembled delegates, compound eyes reflecting artificial lighting, voice translator, calibrated to convey humility previously unthinkable from collective leadership. We fundamentally misunderstood Earth's position in natural order, saw divided nations, assumed disunity, saw biological limitations, assumed weakness, failed to recognize humans, became apex predators, not by being strongest, fastest, but by being most adaptable, failed to recognize species that evolved hunting in cooperative packs, developed unique psychological advantage capability to simultaneously compete and cooperate, to view former enemies as potential allies. Admiral Chen, listening, recognized transformative moment, understanding spreading through assembled representatives, fundamental misapprehension, giving way to new comprehension, humans dangerous, not because they were strongest, but because their evolutionary path created unique combination of predatory instinct, cooperative capacity, technological adaptability. The council proceedings continued for weeks, establishing communication protocols, trade agreements, defensive alliances, technological exchange programs, cultural understanding initiatives, creating foundation for genuinely cooperative galactic community where biological differences became strengths, not divisions. Earth established training academies where other species learn not human warfare technology, but human thinking, strategic innovation, cooperative competition, psychological adaptability, the true source of their strength, qualities that made humans uniquely dangerous yet uniquely capable of building rather than destroying. The final council protocol document, transmitted throughout known space, included principle that would define post-collective era. True apex predators understand power requires restraint, strength, demands responsibility, victory, necessitates magnanimity, intelligence, compels wisdom. These principles, not biological capability, determine civilization's fitness to lead. Admiral Chen, standing on observation deck, watching representatives depart aboard vessels reflecting countless evolutionary paths, countless worlds, countless stars reflected on war's strange outcome, humans proving themselves universe apex predators, not through conquest, but through capacity to hunt without destroying, to win without dominating, to lead without controlling. The predator had awakened, and in awakening discovered its greatest strength was not its teeth, but its heart, not its claws, but its mind, not its capacity to kill, but its ability to create.